What's going on, everybody? Happy Tuesday. BobbyFi with my man, Eric Sheets-Haver. We are doing an NBA show. Yeah, we're doing an early NBA show, which means that a lot of things are subject to change, but this is where we're going to be at for now, and hopefully it'll give us an idea of how we want to attack this slate. Sheets, any overall thoughts before we jump into game by game?
No, let's just start game by game, and then we'll see who's
See what we do?
who's actually in when the game starts.
All right, well, let's get to it. So,
Hold on, let me share my screen.
yeah, let's pull the screen up.
Okay.
All right. So do you wait? You have a? Let's see. What am I looking at? I must be looking at the wrong thing here because I've got a different game on my first. Oh, you know what? I've got the wrong date here. Never mind. Let me clear this up. It was confusing to me because I'm seeing guys with yesterday's things.
Oh, is that why you got confused?
Yeah, that was throwing me completely for a loop here. All right. So first game, Chicago. Right. Sorry, it's updating my things. Chicago, Indiana. Sheets, do you want to start this one off because I'm a little just trying to get my screen to update here.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I noticed is there isn't a lot of like really great value, at least at first look. I mean, stuff could open or whatever. There will be, but so it makes it a little more kind of a traditional type of play where you have to try to find some mid-range guys or whatever. But the good news is that there aren't that many studs that you have to pay for either. You know, like you have them coming later, like you have Giannis and you know maybe Jokic, but Jokic has his own risk. We'll get to all that. So maybe you could play some middling stuff. So the guys that stood out for Chicago for me were Thaddeus Young, Vooch at 8,700, which is kind of cheap, and Zach LaVine, who's now under 8K. So I like all three of those guys. Indiana, I really didn't get to anything. Again, I don't know who's going to be out and all that stuff, but who am I presuming? I guess Brogdon would be my favorite, assuming they all play. But I think that there's enough balance now if they're all there that I don't want to play anybody.
Yeah, no matter what, if Sabonis and if Sabonis plays, regardless of who else is playing, I'm interested in Sabonis.
Okay.
And I'm interested in Vooch, and that is the extent of my interest in this game. I don't mind if someone wants to throw in LaVine because we know what his upside actually can be, but it's not been the prettiest like little set of games since this whole new thing has happened, and I think there's reason for it. But both of these teams I like to attack from the inside, and Sabonis and Vooch fit well for me. So those are my two favorite plays here.
Okay.
In New Orleans, Atlanta.
Yeah, so I don't, you know, I really don't know who's playing. You know, I presume they're all back. Beats me. But it was really funny. So I don't know if you saw this, but in their last game, they totally pulled like a weird thing. So they started Adams alongside, I think, Jackson Hayes or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then they ended up closing with Hernan Gomez.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, obviously, it won't matter if everybody's back, but which they will be. I mean, at least Steven Adams will be back. That was a rest. Yeah. I mean, I'm not very interested in anything outside of Zion, but I just named two guys I already like probably as much as Zion. So if Zion's in, I would put him right with those other two guys, but I think I kind of prefer Vooch and Sabonis at the moment to Zion in this matchup.
Yeah, for me, it's Trey and Capella on the Atlanta side. That's all I had from this game.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta like the price on Trey. By the way, it's pretty interesting to see what Bogdanovich did when he ran the offense. Man, you can see where Trae Young gets his numbers from. Yep. Bogdanovich actually putting up bigger games. Yeah, Trey and Capella, but I'm not going to play Capella at 86. I don't think in this matchup. It's not for me. It's not a good matchup for him. It's, I guess Trey would be the only guy I'd consider here.
You like Bogdan at 62?
No. It's I love him, but I don't think I'm going to go do that with all. I mean, they've got Dottie's coming back now. I know that they had Trey before for one of those. When did Trey last go? Let's see. He played the Golden State game. He skipped New Orleans, played San Antonio, and then we had the one outlier. Okay, so Yeah, I don't think I'm going to do it. I mean, I certainly like him in general. I think I would be more inclined to maybe take a shot on a guy who they haven't been using as much and play Kevin Huerter. But I'm not. Yeah, it's okay. I don't know actually if I would do either of those. I think Bogdan will have some ownership tonight, and it's a good matchup. But as of right now, I'm not. I don't have him on my list. Well, I'll add him to a potential, and we'll figure it out later, depending on who's playing.
All right, so I've got something. So Philadelphia and Boston. Right? I have a couple of questions. Number one, I have two questions. If they're answered the way I want, I have a whatever. Number one, is Embiid on like a minutes limit of some kind?
I mean, you're asking a question that I don't really think that there's an answer to as of today. So I can't answer that. I don't know if anybody can. You'd imagine that they would be careful with him.
He played 30. He played 30 minutes a few days ago, right?
28.
29. Okay. Second question is, did the Celtics get Bill Russell back?
So you're asking why Embiid is not really popular?
Yeah.
I honestly think that the projected production, it might be a little bit off. Yeah, I hear you. I like him.
Dude, I'm in. I don't care. I mean,
I like him too. Okay.
I'm in. He's going to Boston Garden or whatever the hell they play now. Okay. Yep. Playing Boston. I'm in. Let Jokic try to beat me in this 3 quarters. I'm gonna try it. I mean, again, unless I hear something. And the thing is that it doesn't really matter because the comments coming from him about Embiid have just been completely random anyway. Like something like, well, he might play. Doesn't sound like he's going to play. Well, we'll see how he's going to feel. So it's totally random anyway. So it doesn't really matter what he says. I don't know. I think I might try it.
Okay. Yeah, I'm into Embiid, and I don't understand I'm sort of with you. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. On the other side, I think Kemba's your best bet.
You do, huh?
I don't like him that much. I don't really love.
You like him better than, say, like Marcus Smart?
Always.
Okay. Oh, I know as a player, but I'm just saying.
No. For fantasy, I prefer Marcus. I would way rather have Marcus Smart on my team than like by 1,000.
Oh, right.
I think that Marcus Smart is about 10 times more valuable than Kemba is. But I don't. For fantasy, I definitely like Kemba better. All right, you ready to go to the Lakers in Toronto?
Well, I'm not quite ready yet because I'm looking at these. I'm looking at the Celtics a little bit. I think that on a slate like this, unless like stuff opens up, which it will, you're gonna have to play some of these kind of like semi-fairly priced guys. So I'm looking at guys like Jaylen Brown and Kemba and guys like that. We're not like that cheap, but they're not. You know what I mean? But you got to play somebody. And I think that I think you might have to play some of these guys in general. So that's why I'm giving more of a look at these guys as opposed to days where, like Beal and Porzingis are out. You know what I mean? Like, so that's why I asked you if you like Kemba more than Marcus Smart, like, for example. And I'm not going to play Robert Williams against Embiid. It's not what I'm going to do. He's going to rate to be a good play again, but I don't know. I figure maybe you'd have a little more.
I actually think Robert Williams is more in play just because of the minutes projection. I think are going to be off on him.
Okay.
Because he should basically match Embiid's minutes if he can without the foul trouble, because they don't really have another body at all to match up with Embiid. Like Cornet that's just not going to work. There's nobody with enough size in this team. I mean, Embiid runs into this all the time, but like, I think that Robert Williams might have enough there. So Williams and Kemba Walker would be my early look favorites.
Embiid might be a good play, but I'm looking at this. I'm just staring at this here. Vooch really is only 8,700.
Yeah, but Sabonis is only 88.
That's true too. That is true.
And even Zion, the recent Zion stuff is 89. Like there's stuff to do here.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Lakers Toronto. This is not the Lakers Toronto game that we were expecting like a year ago, right? Or whatever.
Seriously, I know. Seriously, it's really changed up quite a bit. You've got Kuzma. Like, I think Kuzma and Schroeder are both really good plays. But ceiling wise, it does make me a little bit uncomfortable on giant slates to play or not giant, but big enough slates, because they just like never quite get that 50. Not that they need 50, but you'd like to see that upside. This is probably the best matchup they're going to get. And I guess it depends on some of it depends on whether Drummond plays. I don't know how much entirely of it does, but I'm not like overwhelmingly in love with anything here. I think Kuzma and Schroeder are the best options, and that's pretty much it for the Lakers side for me. I'm not going to play Drummond at 6,500.
Ooh, that dude freaking smash yesterday, Malachi Flynn.
Oh my God, he really did.
He sure did.
Boy, that really lowered the ownership on him. He probably would have been 75% owned, and he was going to end up like 20.
Yep, that's what helped me last night.
Yeah.
I guess that if Van Vliet is back, that's the end of the Flynn experiment for a while.
I don't think Van Vliet is projected to play though right now, is he?
I don't know. He's not projected. I still have him questionable, right?
Yeah, I don't. I think he's more on the less.
I think he's on the doubtful side.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, he's on the outside.
Yeah. There you go.
Oh my God, I'm afraid to check. What's Flynn's price?
Flynn is 39.
Yeah, well, there it is.
Yeah.
There you have it.
He's going to be 1,000,000% owned, but.
And you know what? I got bad news. I don't think he's going to come off the bench this time.
I don't think so either.
So
especially they came back and won that game. I don't know how they won that game. I thought the game was over. I stopped paying attention to it because it wasn't working for me. And
because what happened was there was a stretch where Washington was 2 for 18 from the field.
Oh Jesus.
Yeah.
That's what happened. Well, why don't you talk about it a little bit, like on this side? What else you might be interested in?
So it's back to the other guys then. So Bembry's, oh my God, Bembry's literally 3K.
Yeah.
Bembry, Flynn, to see how projections update, I guess, again, but you can play Trent, 6,200. How did what's his name do? Did Stanley Johnson do anything last night?
No, he got in some secondary run.
Did he get in? Okay.
You know, probably a game theory. Like I messed up by having those two guys in the same lineup, but I was trying to find different like lineups they could possibly use, and I just never really found the right thing. And anyway, but I don't think he's. I mean, like that. There's an off the board one, and I'm trying to figure out the projections. What do you have for? I'm uploading our other video right now, so it's a little bit hard for me to focus on this. But what do you have projected for? Sort of a rough outline for Bembry's, because I don't see him. Like, am I missing? Is there somebody else back that I'm missing? I don't.
I have him with about 20 to 21 fantasy points, but it depends on where you go. Like, depends on whether you're assuming Van Vliet in or not. Now that he's out, a few places I'm looking have him like a full 20 fantasy points. I mean, that's.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I mean, he's the obvious one to me, but I just see his minutes being projected so much less over here.
Siakam, Boucher, OG could come back with a better game. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm into that. Siakam, I think I actually like both those guys here.
I mean, he played 38 minutes and only scored 24 fantasy points. You want to sign me up for 38 minutes of OG? I'll be, you know what I mean? Like, I'll probably try it.
The only thing that worries me is that they might be soon for. Now they won yesterday, so it's not going to happen today. But just keep an eye out. There's certain ideas that maybe they're going to tank a little bit towards the end and miss the playoffs. They're already out on the outside looking in. They could still make a run at trying to get a better pick and stuff like that. So it's just sort of like up in the air right now. It just feels a little weird, you know. Anyway,
OG was 6 for 17 from the field, 1 for 6 from 3, only 6 rebounds. Yeah, he could do better.
Yeah,
he could do better.
Sure.
What else?
You're gonna have to cover this for a minute because I need to get this video loaded.
So the Lakers, I mean, for me, I think the key to the whole slate, in a sense, is whether is number one whether Drummond starts, and number two, what do you do if he does? It's like, so on FanDuel again, he's free, right? 50 whatever, and it's hard, man, because I mean, last time they legitimately started him and tried, he was god awful, until till the toe thing happened. So maybe he was really hurt. I don't know, but it was a rough scene out there, man. I'll say that. But if he's actually going to start, I mean, he's got to be played, right? Or no?
No. Why was he?
There you go. Okay.
Why does he have to be played at 6,500?
I was thinking more of FanDuel, but
and FanDuel, sure, maybe, yeah, that's different. But yeah, I have some interest. Like, he's not the worst play, but I don't see it as like I do like taking bigs against this team, but I don't see him as like a must play in any way.
I don't know. Maybe he is must play. I guess not.
He's certainly not a must play. I'll tell you that right now. But he might be a good play, but I don't see it as much. Boucher, look, he didn't get the minutes and is probably not going to again.
He might though. I mean, he might.
I would think that Aaron Baines would make a lot more sense against the Lakers bigs.
Oh, especially in this game, right?
I like Aaron Baines actually.
I have a dumb question.
What's that?
So, see, you weren't watching. This was over the weekend. So, it was in the chat, and I was saying, okay, Drummond this, Drummond that, and then I'm like, okay, now everybody can feel free to rule Drummond out because I'm done with my updates. And then literally 2 minutes later, like Drummond was ruled out. Mm-hmm. So then I went in and I said, okay, so I guess Gasol's like kind of a lock or something like that if he's cheap. And he.
Why would Gasol ever be a lock?
I didn't know. I just figured he was like 3K or something. I was whatever he was.
He was good though.
He went off like he was like 2% or it was like really weird though. His like ownership was like 0 on like a very, very small slate.
I would have told you that. He's never owned.
Okay.
He doesn't play above 20 minutes usually. So
I guess
it's hard to justify it. He doesn't try to do anything offensively. Yeah. He's out there. So
okay, that was it. That was that then.
Yeah.
So, and this is this some kind of revenge or no?
Yeah, I mean he's going back to Toronto, but it's not like there's any.
Actually, he's not. He's going to Florida.
But yeah, exactly. Fair enough. But he's not that kind of. I mean, also there's nothing to really gain from that. He's not a guy. Right. He's not trying to.
Just throwing it out there.
Yeah. Taylor Horton Tucker would be the other guy you'd consider.
Yeah, I don't have much from the Lakers side. Kuzma, like you said. Probably that's it.
Yeah. THT if there's no value, that's what I'm gonna say. And then I even think he's got upside even if there is some other.
But I think if there's no value, again, I think I just end up just not paying for the studs. You know what I mean? I think I end up just go middling.
Yeah, but THT is a good play. He's put up 26 in the room.
Memphis, Miami, I had nothing. So what do you got there?
I think Grayson Allen's gonna be really popular, and I think the THT is a really good pivot off of Grayson Allen, and they're the same exact price, and. That's it, dude. Grayson Allen's been really good. I get why people are into him. I personally would just side with. Playing Jaw here if I was going to play anybody, and I'm not sure that I'm going to play him, but that would be pretty much it for me. And on the Miami side, I do think that everybody gets a little bit of a boost, and I think Bam is one of the best plays in the slate.
Gets a bit of a boost from what?
The Memphis is playing.
Playing Memphis. Oh, I thought somebody was out. Okay, just playing Memphis in general. Okay.
Yeah, and then I think Jimmy Butler's a good play. I like all of these guys. I think that Bielitsa has been playing enough minutes to where if you're starved for value, you can always use him.
That's interesting.
He played 24 minutes in the last game, and I'm on the Bam. Bam is my favorite because of Oladipo and guys like that aren't going to cut into him. Everybody being healthy isn't going to cut into him, and I think this is a good matchup for him, even against a big, strong Valanciunas. That I really like Bam actually here.
Yeah. Again, this is true DFS, true transparency. So I'm just gonna say it like it is.
Mm-hmm.
If Grayson Allen wins the tournament for someone as chalk, it's not going to be me. So
especially against like in a bad matchup against my.
That's just what I'm against my. Are you kidding? I mean, yeah. Hey, maybe he's been playing well or whatever it is, but maybe. Hold on, let's get rid of this. Bad idea by me, but I'm just telling you, if someone wins with Grayson Allen's chalk, it will his screen name will not be MB Hayes. It's just the way it is. Just like that other I don't see idiot, that other guy. Grayson Allen might be an idiot. You know what I mean? Like that's usually not right to call people from Duke idiot, but that's who's that other guy from the couple of days? I forget. It was some other guy. It was it not Saban Lee? It was somebody else like that. Anyway, I'm with you. I like Bam. Bam is my favorite play. I can't even play Ja against these guys. I still think I'm going to do it.
Yeah. I mean, I actually think it's a good matchup for Josh. I'm surprised you said that, because I actually think, like, people think that that it's a bad matchup to play against. Yeah, sure, but the point guards suck. None of them can defend, whether it be Nunn, Hero, or Dragic. They're all terrible defenders. So actually, it's a really good matchup for Josh. So, but again, overall as a team, you could argue the rim protection hurts him. It's weird with him because, like, when they need him, and this is a game they'll need him, he tends to, unless they're blown out, like, he tends to pretty much that's when he puts up the 50s, or against the Utahs. He's got 2 50s against Utah this year. I mean, whenever he's playing in the 30s of minutes, he's usually getting there. So actually, Ja might be a little better play than I thought. So, all right, but Detroit, Denver, this is one keep your eye out for. Killian Hayes is going to project really well.
Wait, go ahead.
I actually love Killian. I think he's going to be awesome.
Guys are all the industry is killing me with these guys.
What, Killian Hayes?
Killian Hayes is going to be popular now.
Why is that weird? He's a 3K guy who's starting at point guard, and he's their, like, future of their franchise.
He's definitely starting at point guard.
I mean, why would anything change? Well, this is what I'm trying to get it to. Maybe he's not, the only reason he wouldn't is they would rest him on a back-to-back because he's the future of their franchise on a game that they don't need to win. So that's possible. And we may not know about that right away, but keep that in mind, that Killian Hayes' minutes might be more limited than you think coming off an injury. But Killian Hayes he had 7 assists last night. He had 34 fantasy points at 3K. I don't really know why we would be, assuming that he was good to go, but it's a third game in 4 nights off a back-to-back. Doesn't feel like a good spot to play a chalky guy there, who they should protect. What's his name has been absolutely awful at times, and he's extremely up and down in terms of fantasy production. But Saddiq Bey is at a price where I think we can definitely play him. It's just, he's 4,300. I mean, there's definitely upside, and he's going to play minutes, even though they've been cut a little bit. They're just playing too many bodies. It's hard to really get a pulse for this team. And I think we're just going to have to wait to see. Hopefully we get some news earlier in the day about their lineup and whether or not Hayes rests. Because if Hayes does play, I do have some interest. But, I mean, again, we might get other value later in the day. But if Hayes plays, what did he play? How many minutes did he play yesterday? 25 minutes. If he plays 25 minutes, it certainly makes some sense. But I just don't know that they would do that to him on the 3 out of 4 coming off an injury.
In one of the, is this the second? And this the second of the back-to-back? Also?
Yeah.
So it's the second of a back-to-back in the toughest back-to-back there is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, you could. Yeah, it's just about how much they play him to me.
I don't know. Now Denver. Let's talk about Denver for a second. So Denver. This is a tremendous troll because nobody wanted to play Jokic because they were like 100-point favorite and they were certainly going to blow out Orlando. They were on their hands and knees to come back from 15 down to win that game. And as a result, you got 38 minutes out of Jokic and he only scored 50 fantasy points. So it's pretty awesome, right? So he actually had like probably 5 minute points and 5 minutes upside from his projection and he still didn't get there. But that's one of the reasons why the game was, was close because he wasn't really doing much. Jokic 16 assists, guy's ridiculous.
Yeah, but his fantasy production is not the same.
Nope.
Not with
you like any Mason Plumlee going back to Denver? You like any of that?
Yeah, I mean, especially because they didn't play him last night. I probably should have mentioned that. That probably is a reasonable enough play. Yeah, I think that's reasonable. Absolutely.
I also believe in light of what happened 2 games, the game against Orlando, I feel that Denver is going to stomp them.
Yeah, I have a feeling that's going to happen as well.
I don't know what that means. I guess it means that, that there's risk to playing Jokic. And yes, he could get 60 fantasy points in 3 quarters with no problem. If that's, Plumlee's not bad, is he? I mean, like he's gonna be Swiss cheese. You think Jokic can do what he wants?
Yeah.
Okay.
But it doesn't matter.
Maybe they could bring in what's his name, Rasheed Wallace back, or
They're not playing. They're not playing Jokic the same way. It's important to notice that he hasn't scored. His high so far is 55 fantasy points since Aaron Gordon came to the team.
Okay,
really important, and he's going to be really popular. So Embiid is a significantly better play to me, especially factoring in ownership to me tonight for a lot of different reasons, but ownership being one of them. The fact that Embiid has a matchup that I think actually stays close against a team that you've played in the playoffs a couple times, or at least one time anyway. I'll side that way personally, where everybody's going to play Jokic. I'll just play Embiid instead.
And here's another thing, by the way, just for disclosure, how could I forget? It's Mason Plumlee going back to Denver. How about Jeremy Grant going back to Denver?
I mean, yeah, and I guess that's fair enough. I mean, it's so hard with Jeremy Grant because like everybody in DFS is acting like he's this great basketball player.
Not anymore, I don't think.
God, anybody in the world could be doing what he's doing with his usage early in the season. And I think he's a good player, but he's a good role player. I liked him better as a 7-point-a-game Jeremy Grant than I do as the 20-point-a-game Jeremy Grant. And people who think he's justifying his salary are just out of their mind. It's just an awful team, and he's doing it. It's not like his fault, but that's just the way you want to live and play. Hey, go ahead. Jeremy Grant, maybe he is actually like a reasonable play. I think that he makes more sense on FanDuel. I think he'll be much more popular over there, but I'm not like in love with it or excited by it. I just think there's a lot of bodies getting a lot of minutes, but you're right. I mean, he and Plumlee going back definitely deserve to be in consideration.
Giannis, he was out the last game, right? But wait, which game was he out?
Yeah,
he was out something, but the game before that against Portland, I mean, put a ceiling up that we haven't seen in a while in only 33 minutes. Not only 33.
Yeah, that's pretty.
33.
Yeah,
33 is a full set, I guess.
Well, it depends. Yeah, I mean, if it's closer, it'll be 36.
18 for 21 from the field.
I saw that.
He hasn't shot like that since the All-Star game.
By the way, all 3 of his misses were 3-pointers. He was 0 for 3 from 3. 18.
He was 15 for 15 from the field.
He was 18 for 18 from the field.
That's what I meant. He was 18 for 18 from the field.
Yeah.
And 11 for 13 from the line. And I would also like to point out that I'm going to put this another way, that he only had 72 fantasy points with that line. So what was wrong with him? Did he sat the last game?
I honestly don't have. I can't keep track of every. There's been 150 different explanations for every single thing. I can't remember everybody off the top of my head the way I could earlier.
I presume he's going to play.
Whatever the excuse they said had nothing to do with the reason he sat.
Oh well, yeah.
It's just that's all. That's the answer, I think.
Vertigo or dizziness.
There was the knee issue that they said that nothing that's going to stop us from playing him.
So today he's a good play. And he's definitely going to be the highest owned of these plays, right?
As of right now, he's not projected that way from what I'm seeing, but he should be, and I think he will be by the end of the day. Yeah. He's significantly the best play on the slate, in my opinion, but there is room for other things to happen here. And just say, if you don't play him, like Chris Middleton's putting up 30 fantasy points, shooting 4 for 16, make a few shots, and he's going to put up 45 to 50. So this is a perfect matchup for him. So I like Giannis and Middleton back, actually.
What do you think about anything on Golden's? I mean, you like Curry, right?
Yeah. So I mean, these teams have had some pretty good battles over the years. I do like Curry a lot, and I just don't know, kind of Curry versus Embiid. Kind of just thinking about the spend ups, and Giannis and Bam are the guys other guys I really like. So where he fits in, I don't know exactly. One other way you can do this is play Draymond, who will have his hands full, but should thrive in the up-tempo environment. And, has put up 48 and 44 his last 2 games. He's 6,700, certainly reasonable. So Draymond or Curry to go with Giannis or Middleton, I think is a good little mini stack to get, and definitely something I'll be doing tonight.
How many, has Draymond gotten ejected in a while?
I don't know. I honestly don't.
No, I'm just thinking about some ejection risk today. I mean, I'm just throwing it out there.
I don't think this would be the spot personally. No. He seems to go. because Giannis plays, maybe it could be. I could see it actually, but maybe. I mean, it's not like he's going to be like 70% on, so we shouldn't include it. That's the only time I would include it as in my consideration.
Anything else from this game?
Not for me.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I know other people will like Oubre and stuff like that, and he does thrive in up-tempo environments. Maybe he's not the worst play, but I would rather just play Draymond instead of Oubre.
That makes sense. You want to go to the
yeah, let's do it.
The co-late night hammer, I guess.
Yeah, the co-late night hammer is basically, look, okay, no one's gonna play Damian Lillard tonight. Now we just talked about other plays. The truth is, 2 out of his last 3 games put up 53 and 58. You could make an argument for Lillard over Curry here, to me, for sure. I don't have a whole lot more to add to it than that, and I don't like it as much for CJ McCollum, but I mean, I think it's Lillard. It would be Lillard, basically. It would be my only guy there. And then on the other side, I do think Paul George is too cheap, and I think Kawhi is probably too cheap as well. So my pick would be Paul George. Maybe I'll change my mind later on that, because thinking about it right now, if Beverly doesn't play, George is probably going to end up covering Dame some of the time, again, like he did in the OKC series. So I don't know. From a couple years ago, I think I would lean George over Kawhi at first glance, but I think they're both in play.
You like any of the other guys, like Morris or Zubac?
No, especially not. I mean, they're fine, but I think Beverly, if he does play, it's hard to know because I don't know what's going to happen with Beverly, but also we have Rondo in the mix now. The minutes are not the same for all these guys. It just slides over a little bit. And other than George and Kawhi, I don't think you're going to see a ton, although you do get a pretty good price for Zubac here, I have to say. Like 5,400 seems pretty fair, but I don't think I'm going to end up getting to it. Especially the center's pretty strong.
Yeah, I like Lillard a little bit as a low-owned pivot off of everything. That's what it is, right? It's a low-owned pivot off of Trey, low-owned pivot off of everything.
Yep.
Paul George tilts me. Him and his dizziness and his rule-outs and his whatever else. The whole Clipper team just kind of tilts me.
I hate it. I hate what they're doing, and I don't think they're going to be allowed to get away with it. I'm telling you, the NBA is going to institute some rules so this craziness doesn't happen next year.
Yeah, I don't really like it too much. So before we go to FanDuel for a second, so let's think. I was kind of just rolling my eyes at some of these guys, but let's talk about for real. Like you talk about the difference. Let's just say he starts between like Killian Hayes, Malachi Flynn, Grayson Allen. Like let's put those 3 guys up there. And let's say Deandre Bembry. Like of those 4, like who would you think?
Flynn and Bembry.
I don't know. He's 3K. No.
Who?
Is DeAndre Bembry one of those good plays?
Yeah, I said Flynn and Bembry would be the first.
Sorry about that. So Flynn and Bembry would be your 2 favorite. Like you, even if like, for example, let's just say they announced that Killian Hayes were starting, like you'd still like Flynn more, right? If he were
starting. If Killian Hayes was starting, that might change things a little bit. Okay. I would just add him to those guys. Like, right. I'm not. I mean, Bembry, I need to figure out why these minutes projections are where they are. I don't have an answer for it right now, but I will by the time we go live. Later.
And what about the difference between those two wings between Bembry and Allen? I mean, they're different prices, but.
Well, I told you already. I'm not comparing Allen to that. I'm comparing him to THT because they're the same price.
Okay.
So Bembry would be the pick though over. I mean, again, I need to figure out the Bembry minutes thing. I really am baffled at why he would be projected for 22 minutes after playing 30, playing well, and then come back and scoring 35 fantasy points.
Right. You want to I'm sorry that I don't have the that's FanDuel. Hold on a minute. Let's I want to get a NBA up. Hold on, was it? Where am I? NBA. Because I have ready to go. I just didn't have a mock lineup in here. Okay. Okay. So start a point guard. Yes, sir. So I have again. I didn't get much of this Killian Hayes stuff. I just have kind of like the regular plays for now, and I like trade 8,500's rough. I like that, and then
Is it? I'm just gonna play devil's advocate real quick on the Trae thing. We say this every time about Trae Young.
I know.
How many times since we've said this has he actually put up a game?
0.
We wanted. There's been like 1, and even that was like maybe not even 1. Like he's putting up like 45s as a ceiling lately. I mean, pretty consistently since they've been good, since they've been better for the last month and a half or so. So when he's going to be high owned, and of course, yes, he can crush it at this price. Yes, all this stuff. Yes, it's a good matchup. Everything, sure, fine. But just we've had this conversation so many times. I feel the need to just sort of like keep talking about it. You know what I mean?
Yep. I like the other 2 spends. I like Lillard and Curry.
I got that. I like the Lillard and Curry as well. I think that there's a really good argument to play Ben Simmons here. He's had a pretty good past against Boston actually. Even going back to their playoff bout a few years ago, and it was streaky. It was like put up 60 then 20 or whatever, but he's 7,400, and I think he's interesting. I don't mind if no one else was going to do it. I would play Malachi Flynn at 550, 100, but I think that's going to be pretty popular actually.
Yeah.
I like Ben Simmons. I like Ja Morant. I think Ja is a better play than we initially gave him credit for, and he's the only one I really haven't. And over here, Lillard and Curry, the threes don't count as much, but I do think Lillard and Curry are the best spend ups, I guess, for at the position. So Simmons, Ja, Lillard, and Curry are my main guys over here.
Shooting guard. Oh, please. Give me a break.
What is that? What's drawing your attention here?
Zach LaVine is 7,200.
He's been 7,200 for a while.
Has he on FanDuel?
Oh yeah, and a draft. I mean, no, not a DraftKings, but let's see. Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. He's been 7,200 for 5 games. He hasn't put up more than 34.
Yeah, well, we're gonna try it. And then he's my favorite. And then under that, tilting Paul George, maybe McCollum. Then we're back to Marcus Smart chalk, right? Damn. Boy, when did shooting guard become such an annoyance?
Yeah, I agree. It's not the easiest position today. I don't mind overspending for George, and I don't mind CJ McCollum over here because I don't like the position as much, and I don't mind, again, just because he's been struggling lately with it and he's definitely not healthy. Zach LaVine at 7,200 is more appealing today to me just because of the situation. And I mean, look at who else we're going to have the chalk. The chalk guys are going to be Marcus Smart, Grayson Allen, and Gary Trent.
Feel free.
Yeah, we can certainly play Zach LaVine here and feel okay about it, or CJ McCollum and feel okay about it. Or one other guy is even, I would say, well, actually, you know what? Bembry, I don't know what's happening with these projections. I'm going to need to figure this out, but Bembry will be the spend down. But I will have that answer hopefully later today. And I think it's got to be just a mistake, but I'll figure out what that is. I don't get it.
I feel like we've seen this game before, not this game before, but this decision before. Like you have when Portland's playing LAC, whether you want Lillard and Kawhi or Lillard and George or CJ McCollum and George or CJ McCollum and Kawhi. So I feel as though I want to have something of that. I don't know exactly what combination, but I think like given what you said, considering how shooting guard is a little weak, maybe like setting up for Paul George might same kind of thing. Like you can play Kawhi if you want. And then again, you got Jaylen Brown still just kind of is Jaylen Brown and like Zach LaVine just both like sucker plays. You know what I mean? It's like they continue to look cheap and they just never get there.
No, they get there. I mean, we know they get there. It's just, okay. I mean, Zach LaVine is obviously, look, we have to not pretend like things didn't happen. It's not like Zach LaVine is just going through a stretch. They're playing, they completely changed their offense and team, and they're trying to figure out what they're doing, And I think it's rough. I think it's rough to figure it out. I will go back to Saddiq Bey again. I'm just going to keep mentioning that because he's going to stay lower owned because he's really struggled, but he's 4,400. This is a spot he could have been like 60% owned, especially with how weird this position is. I think Jaylen Brown is in play because of this, but I do think the best play is Middleton and Jimmy Butler over here. That's where I'm at. And yeah, I mean, anytime you get Justin Holiday chalk, like, I mean, but at the same time, like, yeah, we'll play Sadiq Bey over Justin Holiday for one thing. But Gallinari's cheap. You could play him. Like, this is a rough position. This might be like the one that I just have the least priorities of. I maybe overpaying for Anunoby or Ingram or Kuzma is not even the wrong thing to do here. I actually think that's viable. And I think these early projections in the morning are throwing me off a little bit because they're just way. Yeah. And then the guy you like at power forward over on the other site, I actually like over here a little better is Jeremy Grant because, again, I'm not in love with this position. And by the way, Isaiah Stewart is still going to play minutes. So at 3,700, if you want to spend down, but I think the main play is Siakam and Giannis. Am I missing anything there?
No, that's what I was going to say. Pretty much exactly that.
Yeah.
Was there one of you mentioned Stewart. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to do that, but I definitely feel as though you really want to get Giannis in.
Yeah, it is Stewart in a back-to-back. He did only play 21 minutes yesterday, though. Put up 33 fantasy points.
What about? Did you mention Sabonis?
Yeah, I said Sabonis. Oh, sorry. If I didn't, I meant to.
There's Siakam. Siakam just has so much usage at his disposal if he wants it. You know, with Van Vliet.
Yeah. All right. Sheets, are you still there? Did I lose you?
I played both those, I think.
I lost you there for
a second. I'm here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was about to say that Giannis and Siakam, you probably should try to pay up for both.
Yeah.
Center. If Drummond starts, I think I have to play him and lose. It's just too cheap. You know what I mean? I just can't.
Yeah, at some point that price does get to be a little bit hard to avoid. Let's see. We've got I'm trying to see who else I've got here. Oops, I got the wrong between baseball and basketball. I've got the wrong screens up. Even I've got a golf one over here. Yeah, Drummond, I'm totally good with over here. Assuming that he plays, and I think there's upside on his minutes and everything. So maybe you're right. Maybe he's more in play on DraftKings than I originally gave him credit for. Behind him, it's a little bit of okay, what are we doing exactly?
Yeah, it becomes a tough construction situation, right?
Did I miss that Nurkic was out tonight?
I did not see that.
Did I miss? I must have just missed that.
What's Cantor 58?
Yeah, so Cantor should be in play on both sites. I didn't realize Nurkic was out. Why did I miss that? Where did that come from? I don't know how I missed that.
Oh my God! Look at Clint Capella, 9,900 like a boss. We were playing him at like.
Did we also play him at like 10-3 though one day? Remember something crazy like that? Oh man. But yeah, I mean, like again, we talked about it over on the other site. First of all, I do still like Bam over here. What?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
he's
like
center. Yeah, he's center now. Yeah, Bam, he's center. I forgot.
And then Embiid, I just think that like you're going to get really low ownership on a guy who, I mean, could easily be the highest scoring player on the slate. I really believe that. So Embiid, if not Drummond, those are probably my favorites. And then Cantor is the other guy you could play instead of Drummond if you want to. But Drummond should smack this Toronto team. I mean, honestly, maybe he's even in play on DraftKings more than I thought. This is a little too good of a spot. Anyway, all right, Cheats, anything else for the people before we get out of here?
No, we're good.
All right, guys, good luck out there, and we'll see you at the top of leaderboards.